Kansas Sports Channel getting back at it with our next guest, and that's going to be Rickie Peterson, a writer for KSHSAA Covered. You can check out their work, as always, at KSHSAAcovered.com. All right, so summer, man, I feel like it's getting close. Your school season almost over. Like, do you get a chance to, like, settle down, breathe a little bit after the school season ends?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Up until then, it's going to be a grind. But yeah, once we get out of the month of May, we'll get to decompress a little bit. So, but until then, we're gonna be pretty busy.
Like, I mean, you talk about, I mean, this has been a number of years that you guys have been doing KSHSAA Covered, and with the websites and just the social media. Like, how much, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's just been booming. Like, I feel like everyone has enjoyed it, especially for a statewide coverage. You four guys have done a phenomenal job.
Well, thanks, Cole. We really appreciate that. When we started, it was just important to get as many kids as much recognition as they could, especially kids that maybe in the smaller communities that don't get as much attention. Just kind of get their stories out of there, and I feel like we've been doing a good job of that. Obviously, there's always room for improvement, and we try to get better each year. But yeah, it's been a really fun ride so far, and we gotta give thanks to all the coaches and the athletic directors that help us highlight their kids.
You talk about highlighting kid. I think the last time we had you on, you were talking about Jack Hurd out of South Central, and it was like early, like spring season had just started, and you were running through some of his ridiculous baseball numbers. And like, I feel like everyone wants to like project like what the kid's going to do at the next level, but sometimes like you just got to stop and enjoy like what he's doing in high school, like whether it's guy or gal. And Jack's like one of those like perfect like high school athletes to me. Like you're just sensational at everything. Like you can't create much of a better high school athlete than like Jack Hurd, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, we all know what he's done in football and basketball. Up until last year, he had never thrown javelin before. I mean, he was talked into his friends, "Hey, come, we want to be around you more, Jack. Just come out and throw and mess around and throw the javelin." And he goes out and wins a state title his first year last year. This year, he's in some historic territory this year. He went to 211 at one of his first few meets at Mineola, which I think put him top 15 all time or something. And then he even bested that not too long ago at the Buckland meet at 213. So it's just like, man, what can't this kid do?
Right.
And I tell you, Friends University has got, they lucked into getting not lucked in, but they're getting a really good one. And Jack Hurd, they recruited him for football, and that's his primary sport. And then all of a sudden he blows up in javelin. So the football coaches, hey, why don't you get in touch with the track coach and see? And of course, I'm sure the track coach was happy to have Jack. So now he's going to do football and javelin, and that's quite a get for the Falcons.
Not very impressive. Brody Dennison of Holcomb, had him on the show earlier. I mean, just an impressive over the last couple of years what he's been able to do, especially in some of their distance events for Holcomb.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a kid that just had an incredible distance career. It was really cool for him in the cross country season this fall to break through for that first title after he'd been runner up, I think 2 years in a row. And last year he was the 800 champion. This year I think this might change, but as of when we're filming this, he has the second best time in the 800 this year at a 153. He ran at the Garden City meet, and runner up last year in the 1600 and the 3200. So he's gonna be a guy that's in the mix for multiple state titles. He's also anchored state championship relay teams for Holcomb. And Holcomb, they've been on a great run in track and field. And this year, I really think they have a good shot at getting their third straight state champion. Cooper Cranston is a really good hurdler for them. They just got a really strong track program. So yeah, and Brody's definitely one of their leaders.
Who stood out at Ulysses for you?
Uh, uh, Gage McGahee, he going back to last year, he kind of had a breakout beat at the state meet last year. Was able to win the 200 and come from behind, fashion over Clay Center, Jace Weller. and also anchored a state champion 400 relay team for the Tigers. And this year, at the time we're taping this, he owns the top 200 time in the state at 21:45. He has the best 4A time and the 100 at 10:56. So only a junior. Last year when he won the state title, he was just a sophomore, and this year he's had a really really good strong season. I think he might be a guy that's kind of underrated a little bit. That's really really breaking out, and then the state's kind of taking notice of him.
On the girls' side, Rickie, I feel like, Ellenwood High School, we've been able to talk about them pretty much every season as it's gone along in some specific sports, and it's kind of bled over to track and field too.
Yeah, what a year for them. Reagan Ward, she was one of the breakout performers last year at the state meet, sweeping the 100, 200, and long jump titles, and she's been just as impressive this year. Just recently went 19.3 in the long jump, which was her personal best, and puts her around top 5 in that event of all classes. And she's put up really good 100 and 200 meter times too. And only a sophomore, and she's really really one of the state's best up and coming athletes. And I think Ellenwood, it's been an embarrassment of riches for that school. Just what they've been able to do in multiple sports with volleyball. They're coming off their best basketball season ever, and Reagan's definitely a huge part of what's made that school so impressive.
The Liggett girl from Nest City seems like she does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's definitely, her versatility has been on full display this year.
Yeah.
I think she's done 6 events this year, and all of them are really good times. I mean, I think she's PR'd in 5 events, and all of them are, among the 1A leaders. When you talk about what she does, 100, 200, she's tried 400 this year, 300 hurdles, long jump, triple jump. She was a cool story last year. I think we've talked about it before. She's the reigning 100 champion, and when she did it last year, she set a meet record, and the meet record was Bev Heyer Burney, who was going into the Hall of Fame that state track weekend. So that was kind of a cool story. And Tegan's just, I mean, she's just been really fun to watch for her versatility. Cross country, she had never done cross country before, and this year they talked her into doing that, and she was definitely I think one of the main reasons they won that state cross country title. And even though she was doubling up and doing volleyball, so just a kid that's always seemed like she's team first, and she'll do whatever they want. And she's primed for another huge state track meet.
And a highlight out of Setanta, what do you got?
Yeah, Setanta, a small, really small school. I think they have about 56 students at the school. And Cameron Ross, one of the best javelin throwers in the state. She's always been a really good in javelin, but more at the 1A level, she's been in the mix. And this year it was all about how do I take that next step to being one of the best in any classes. And she did that right away this year at the K-State Relays, through a 152, which at the time was the best mark in the state in all classes. And she was just really fun to talk to. I talked to her a couple of weeks ago, just how she's really fallen in love with javelin. And all that work is starting to pay off. And she's a future Fort Hays State Tiger. And I should mention Tegan Leggett's going to Fort Hays too. So nice. Really good to see those kids stay in Western Kansas, and it'll be fun to see what they can do with the Tigers.
Hey, Rickie, like always, appreciate the time.
Thank you, Cole. Appreciate it.
As Rickie Peterson with KSHSAA Covered. You can see their work at KSHSAACovered.com.